निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमिड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामि. Namaste and welcome to our guided meditation session on the Sunday morning. As usual, let us meditate. Sit upright, keeping your back, neck and head in a relaxed upright position. Imagine your body to be strong and healthy. Direct your attention to various limbs of your body, and as you do so, visualize that each part is healthy, strong, and full of divine light. Focus your attention to your toes, feet, ankle, calf muscles, knees, thighs, back, hip, stomach, shoulders, elbows, arms, hands, neck, face, head, and the whole body steady, strong, healthy, and a fit instrument for you to cross the ocean of life. Now focus your attention on your breath. Breathe in slowly and deeply, exhaling fully and inhaling fully also. As you breathe in, visualize that you are breathing in pure light that fills every cell of your body, every corner of your mind with its effulgence. As you breathe in, you may wish to repeat the universal mantra Om in a harmonious way. Let's breathe in this way thrice. Let us now pray for the welfare of all. May that universal consciousness which forms the substratum of the whole universe, out of which we all have come, by whom we are all sustained every moment of our life, and into whom we will all return. May that infinite, absolute ocean of pure consciousness, of the nature of infinite existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, supreme peace, beauty and strength, which is the core of our being, may the divine inspire us to withdraw our minds from the external material world and direct it towards itself. May it fill our minds with knowledge and our hearts with peace. Visualize your praise going out to your right, spreading out forever, coming in touch with people all around the universe, uplifting them. Send your praise to your left, in front, behind, above, below, in all directions. Now withdraw your mind from the external world and focus it within you. Visualize that your physical body is strong, steady, and pure. Visualize that permeating and overlapping this physical body is your mental body, luminous in nature, calm and peaceful. And beyond the mental body is the body of knowledge, shining on all its effulgence. And beyond that is the ocean of infinite consciousness, which is the absolute, out of which all these have come, by which all these are sustained, into which everything will merge back again. In that ocean of infinite consciousness, visualize a beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance. In the center of that lotus, visualize a flame like a lamp kept in a windless place, perfectly still, spreading its radiance in all directions, filling every part of your being with its effulgence. You may replace that flame with any divine form of your choice or your chosen ideal, feeling His living presence therein, full of grace, eager to shower His blessings on you. Visualize that the light radiating from the divine is the light of spiritual knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's the light of supreme bliss that fills you with joy and happiness. It is the light of supreme peace that fills you with contentment and serenity. It is the light of absolute bliss that fills you with happiness. It's the light of supreme purity that fills you with holiness. All divine excellences are radiating from the divine source within you, which is none other than your own higher self. These bodies are only a reflection, an image of the divine that is within us. Feel the presence of the divine within you. Let it occupy your whole mind. Feel His presence, His protection. You may repeat the universal mantra Om, or the mantra that has been given by a spiritual teacher. Or if you wish, you may visualize the form of Sri Ramakrishna and repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Namah. Keep the whole mind occupied with the divine form and lock the thought process in the repetition of this mantra. Keep a little watchful eye on the repetition process, and if the mind tends to drift away anywhere, bring it back to this visualization of the divine within you and the repetition of the mantra. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So, as usual, you'll conclude your meditation, hopefully, at least half an hour of meditation, by offering the results of your meditation to the divine that is within you. Reason we do that is all activities of the body and the mind are only possible because of that divine presence inside us. That consciousness that we feel within ourselves, that I sense, is not an independent entity, but is only a manifestation of the divine as a reflection we see in a mirror of ourselves. That I sense is a reflection of the divine in the mirror of the body mind complex. And if the mirror is clean, without any dust and without any imperfections, we see a beautiful image of ourselves. On the other hand, if it has over time collected dirt and dust, then we see a hazy, distorted image of ourselves. It has nothing to do with ourselves, it's only an image. But we need to have a mirror to experience ourselves. The purpose of spiritual life, of Japa and meditation, is to purify this mind so that as it becomes purer and purer and purer, that means as the degree of sattva increases, as the degree of tamas and rajas decreases, then in this mind itself you will find and feel and experience, without anyone needing to tell you, that clear image of yourself. And you will discover, to your surprise maybe, that I am such a wonderful being. I am not this gross physical body which was born, which grows old and one day becomes old and dies. I am not even this mind which is full of various ideas and conditioning and knowledge, so much agitated and always restless. I'm not even this limited intelligence with which I'm able to understand and experience these things. I'm not even this little ego also. I am that infinite ocean in which these millions of waves of people are appearing and disappearing. The ocean never comes and never goes. Only these waves appear and disappear. In other words, in spiritual life, we are trying to educate ourselves and experience our true identity, not the identity by which we are born in a particular country or place or gender, growing through this life. That is not our true identity. Our true identity is Chidananda Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. I am that infinite ocean of peace and bliss, auspiciousness, which is of the nature of Chit, means infinite knowledge. Imagine a state of being where there is no ignorance of even a speck of ignorance is there. That is omniscience. That is the true nature of the Atman. And that is our true nature here and now. And Ananda, bliss, without any speck or iota of misery. Absolute bliss. That is our true nature. We have drifted out of that state and become identified with this little cage of the body and mind. And we are thinking this is our true identity, and somehow we are caught in it. How do we disconnect ourselves from this ignorance to that state of knowledge? And meditation and japa and prayer, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam. All this prayer means I'm not happy with my current state of limited existence, no matter how good it is, but at the end of the day, this body and mind is only a prison house. And I want to get out of this. How do I get out of it? The one who has put me in there, he holds the key. And therefore, I can struggle not from inside, he can open it from outside. And I'm going to take advantage of that. So that divine ocean of consciousness also manifests in this creation as all these things, whether it's an atom or a bacteria or virus or plant or animal or human beings or gods and goddesses, are different manifestations of the divine. But now and then, he comes in a very special form, appearing in the midst of humanity as a human being, but absolutely pure and fully alert and awake to this divine nature. He moves around in us, talks in our language, understands our things, and there's such a being is called an incarnation of God, Avatara, the Buddha, the Christ, Rama, Krishna, Ramakrishna. These are living forms of God. And in their life, you will see by that when you read their teachings and observe their life, they set that ideal relevant to that age and time as how mankind can practice and follow that path and reach that state of self-realization, of God realization. Otherwise, you'll have to go and read all the scriptures and books and get lost in this jungle of all this, so many diverse opinions and views. Here, they put you on the highway, so to say, and you just simply drive with the GPS locked, so to say. They make spiritual life so easy. And if there is one and you have devotion to one of them or access to that knowledge, and you're fortunate to be blessed by them, then it really expedites the progress in a spiritual journey. So, when these spiritual teachers come, they themselves do a tremendous amount of sadhana. Not for themselves. That is for the mankind. And who acquires that spiritual wealth? All those who meditate on him. Okay, Sri Ramakrishna would say, those who meditate on me will inherit my spiritual treasures. Amar Sampatti Pava. Sampatti means all the wealth that, like a father man has worked so hard and accumulated millions of dollars in the properties. What does he do with it? He doesn't take it with him. He gives it to his children. But those who are ready to receive and where the relationship is there. So those who develop this relationship with God, they receive those divine treasures, so to say. But more than that, and in the last Saturday's class, I talked to you about the importance of having one chosen ideal. In chosen ideal is an English word. The Sanskrit is Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means that one divine form out of so many who will become my door to enter the divine realm. Of course, the building has many doors, but my door will be the one. So I will knock on that door, not on this door today and all that. Of course, all doors lead to the same goal. So in our tradition, religion, we have got so many gods and goddesses, which are all manifestations of that one infinite, nameless, formless being called Brahman. Allah, absolute, Bhagwan. That's absolute. But he manifests as Durga, as Kali, as Saraswati, as Lakshmi, as Shiva, as Ganesha, and all these things. They're not different. Different aspects of the same being. Just like this building has, I can take 4 photos from 4 directions. They will all look different maybe, but they are all talking about the same building. Or the same substance, like Sri Ramakrishna says, is, some people call it water, some call it aqua, some call it pani, some call it jal. The substance is one, and you drink it, you satisfy your thirst. We are not going to worry about the labels and names, whether you call him Allah or Bhagwan or Krishna or Rama. That doesn't matter. What we want is to experience and satisfy our thirst for spirituality, and they are the channels through which. So when God comes in this human form, then you get that abundance of the spiritual power. We are interested in drinking the milk. If you go to the cow and touch its horn or the back or the tail, you're not going to get any milk. The milk is available through the udder of the cow. And so Sri Ramakrishna would say, the incarnation is the udder of the cow. That is where you will get the milk. And that is why if you can find one or you develop a devotion, you know that you are very, very lucky. No point holding the tail and the head and the horns, no matter how interesting they are. What we require is the milk, and that comes from a divine source. God himself comes in a human form. And when he comes, he gives and simplifies the spiritual path. So if you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you'll find that you don't need to go through all this Sanskrit, the Vedas and Upanishads and the Gita and that. You'll find in very simple language, through parables and all that, 85% or 80% of your concept of spiritual ideas, whatever is there, will become so easily simplified. You don't have to be trying to figure out the complex ideas. Then you start practicing it. You don't want to be constantly studying the map. You want to start driving on the journey, so to say. So that's the advantage we find that when we read the teachings and the life of Sri Ramakrishna. It brings about so much clarity, and you don't want to spend 10 years trying to find out our way. Life is short. We do not know when it stops. We want to go. Anyone who can help us in that journey, we would like to take advantage of that. So when an incarnation of God comes, he teaches all those things. And then that power he generates, it's transmitted to us through a parampara, through a succession of spiritual teachers who are the gurus. And there's a method and a tradition through which that is done. The spiritual teacher, who only is a representative of the divine, who connects us to the source, is the matchmaker between the devotee and the divine. And then he steps aside, okay, and lets you commune with the divine. But he has got a function of trying to bring the two together. That is his responsibility, his representative. So when we approach somebody with that, to avail that grace of the divine through that channel, that spiritual teacher normally prescribes one aspect of the divine, which is called your chosen ideal. And that becomes your entry to the divine gate to the divine, so to say. Thereafter, all these gods and goddesses are still there, and you will worship them during different festivals and all those things. But your ideal would be that all these divine forms of divinity are manifestations of my chosen ideal. Sarva Deva Devi Swarupaya. Sarva means all. Gods and goddesses are embodied in my chosen ideal. And through the worship of my chosen ideal, I am worshipping all of them. So you don't require a whole battalion of gods and goddesses in your shrine. You can have them there, but know that by worshipping a chosen ideal, all are also worshipped like that. Otherwise, there was no end. Where you start, where do you end, and then all the rituals and ceremonies. No, it has to be made very simple. Not only the spiritual teacher will suggest to you or give you your chosen ideal, and you don't have any say in that matter, that I like this or I like that. That's what he decides, depending on your constitution, your spiritual nature. You'll discover, if you follow the instruction, that very quickly your mind will set into that and you'll feel so comfortable. That's where the spiritual teacher comes. But not only the form of the divine that he will recommend, he will give you the mantra. And today I'll speak a little bit about what is the mantra and why it is so important. So the mantra is not simply some words. Otherwise, you can read it in a book or hear it somewhere and then say, I got this mantra. No. The mantra is a spiritual energy that is communicated through some words. It's like, in the sense, look, I've got some ideas in my mind. I'm using the vehicle of speech, encoding these thoughts in using words and phrases and sentences, and you're listening to them. And if you understand my language, you will hopefully decode the idea that is in my head, in your head, in the way I want. That would be a good, effective communication. So there is some power in those words through which knowledge is being transferred. The mantra is even beyond that. So words that we hear through our ears are gross words, right, produced by my speech. So this body in Sanskrit is called vikhara. That is called vaikhari. That is the spoken speech words are called vaikhari. Gross words, in the sense, it's produced by the physical body. But behind that is the idea, which is embodied in the words. That idea level is called madhyama, in the middle state. But that idea also pops up somewhere from deep, that out of which it's coming, finer than that. So if you say the gross word is like the ice, the subtle one is like the water. What is the water vapor state of it? That is called pashyanti. It's extremely fine, but that is the cause out of which this all, out of the water vapor, the water and ice comes out. So out of the pashyanti comes the madhyama, comes the vaikhari. And what does even that come out of? That comes out of that supreme ocean of consciousness, and that is called Paravak, the supreme Vak Shakti. Vak Devi is Saraswati. So the Divine Mother Saraswati is not some image that we worship. Okay, that is there, but that's the gross form that we conceptualize. Beyond that is that whole ocean of knowledge. That is her subtle form. Beyond that is that pure intelligence that is shining through that. And beyond that, she is that absolute infinite consciousness. So these mantras are not to do with very much at the vaikhari level, gross level. They are not to do very much with the madhyama level that you will understand it like knowledge. They are to do with that causal level, the very fine level. the first manifestation. So this whole universe, which is various degrees of manifestation of grossness, so to say, just like water vapor, water, and ice. Likewise, out of that ocean of consciousness, which is called Brahman, comes this universes and all living beings, right from Bhurbhuva, Swaha, Mahajana, Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, right from there. Beyond that is that ocean of consciousness of Brahman. And the first sound that is, when this whole world sort of projects out of the Supreme Being, the first sound that is articulated is called Shabda Brahman, Om. That is why this is, that Omkar is the sound form of the Supreme Being. In almost all mantras you'll find start with Om. Okay. But in the process of becoming manifested, so imagine out of that ocean of the divine, which is nameless and formless, a divine form takes shape. But it's very, very fine in the causal level. And in that very causal form, there will be a corresponding sound to it. Then it comes down a little bit further and becomes in the mental level. And there'll be a mental form, and there'll be a corresponding name to it. And then it comes out in the gross form, just like you and I. And there'll be a name to that also. So when imagine that the Supreme Being decides that he's going to manifest, incarnate, and he comes out of radiating from that ocean of consciousness. And he comes and lives in the midst of us as Rama, as Krishna, and Christ, and Buddha, and all that. And he gives us that knowledge and teaching. But when the physical body is given up, that everything is not gone. He still dwells in that subtle form, in the causal form. So the mantras are a link that connect us to that ocean of consciousness. But just like this gross body is here, the subtle body is there, the causal body is there, and the ocean of consciousness is there. There means deeper and deeper within ourselves. So the mantras start with Om. Then there might be a bija mantra, a seed mantra. That doesn't really mean anything to us. It's not a word that we use in our conventional everyday, like a chair, cow, building type of thing. It belongs to something at a very subtle level. And since we are not living in that level, we don't understand what it means. Then it comes down a little bit grosser, where it takes some shape, concrete shape. So if a mantra like Om Gam Ganeshaya Nama, okay, Om is the Supreme Being, Gam is the Bija mantra that becomes manifested in that Ganesha form that we are all familiar with. Nama is you offer your prostrations or reverence or surrender to the Divine Being. But what we have got here is now a couple of links in the chain. Om is the Supreme. In between, there's a subtle causal form, then the form that we can understand. And that mantra, when we repeat through that chain, so to say, flows that spiritual energy from the core of the being. So it requires the links of the chain. Otherwise, if there's power on that side and I'm on this side, without being plugged into the electrical system, I'm not getting any power. We need to be connected to it. And how do we connect ourselves? Well, these mantras are not merely words, but we have to connect it. Connection means connecting it to the consciousness within ourselves. Okay. By focusing your whole mind onto it and keeping that mind in that loop, that chain becomes alive, so to say. You switch it on type of thing. We call it mantra chaitanya. The mantra becomes chaitanya, becomes alive. When it becomes alive, it's like the switch has been flicked up. Yes, you might be connected, but somebody has to do the next part of flicking and switching on. Then the current begins to flow. So it's not like yes, no, one toggle off, but it's like gradually we are making the mind purer and purer and purer, and that flow becomes more and more and more. But first we need to be connected. The mantra itself does that process of purifying the mind, chitta shuddhi. So as you practice the repetition of the mantra, whether you understand the science of it or not, whether you understand the meaning of it or not, it does not matter. The doctor gives you some antibiotics and you do not know its chemical compositions and how it works. It doesn't matter. You take the medicine, it will cure you if it's the right medicine. Likewise, if you have that simple faith in the divine, that yes, this is a there is something wonderful within me, and somebody can help me connect myself to that source, and I'll be ever so grateful to such a person who can guide me in that direction. Even if I'm always connected, but somebody can hold my hand and take me on that side would be a great thing. A spiritual teacher is somebody like that. Okay, he removes the darkness of ignorance so that we understand who we are, that we are divine beings. So as we, with great surrender and sincerity and that faith, that Shraddha has to be there. You can't say, I need to understand this. Okay, our limited intellect, which is all right to do manage the things of this world, is not so refined and pure to understand the subtle types of things. Just like you can't teach Einstein's theory of relativity to a child in primary school. He has to grow himself and make his mind ready to understand. The knowledge is there. Somebody might give it. He might even sit in the class, but the capacity to receive it depends on the recipient's mind. So, puja, japa, puja means that which purifies, whether it's rituals or ceremonies or various spiritual disciplines we are doing, are for the purpose of purifying the mind. We do it with great sincerity and devotion, you'll find that some change will begin to happen. Initially, you might feel God is in this photo or in this image. Later on, you'll begin to question that. No, he can't be there. Where is he? Then you get a conviction he's within me. And afterwards, as you grow, you'll find it's not can't be only within me only. It has to be everywhere. Okay, that expansion of knowledge and heart comes as the mind becomes purer and purer, as the dust on the mirror gets removed. So, having understood that, will not make too much big deal about the destiny, knowing that if I keep on taking my steps, I'll reach that goal. My focus should be, am I taking my steps now? Simply standing there and focusing on God and or something very high and not making that effort is not going to take you there. So, knowledge about the goal and the path from the scriptures and your spiritual teacher is the first step. Next is sadhana, action. Okay, you might have a beautiful car, you might have your map, but if you're not driving on the road, you'll never reach the goal. On the other hand, somebody who doesn't have a very good idea about the map, but he said, let me start moving. And if I lose my way, I'll keep on asking myself, he will reach the destination. So spiritual life, yes, we'll read the scriptures, we'll try to understand something according to our capacity now. But it's very important that we get into action of moving forward. Okay, sadhana should start, because intellectually, even if you understand as much as possible the concepts of spiritual truths, you will not become spiritual. You will become, your intellect will be helped, not your spirit. We want that inner purification to happen. In that process, the mantra is a great help. It is a living source of energy. It's pulsating with the divine energy. And as we repeat it with the deep immersing ourselves into that, identifying that me and my mantra are not different. The mantra and the divine are not different. We are different layers of the same thing. I'm going to merge the gross in the subtle and subtle in the divine and the divine into the ocean. But I've got a link, and I'm going to take advantage of this and with the guide of this, try to dive deep within ourselves. Up to so much, something like that we can explain. The rest is, you have to do the diving yourself. No point doing some snorkeling on the surface of the ocean. You have to get your oxygen tank, you have to develop the capacity to handle the pressures down there. And when you go deep down there, then you'll find the beautiful things that are within us. So, with that understanding, if you're initiated, you're very lucky. Keep doing. If you're not, what do I do? Start with the mantra Om. And if you're sincere, you'll find that the divine will respond. And that is something you have to verify for yourself. We can tell you with 100% conviction, our own experience, whatever you require will come to you. Okay? Come through a book, come through some Swami or some person. At the right time, everything will be arranged accordingly. And when it comes, you'll receive it, you'll be ready to receive it, and you'll take it in that right way, and you'll feel that boost in your spiritual life, like a rocket fires and another cylinder, you change the gears, and suddenly the car is moving much faster. But you have to start getting the engine running and engage gear number one, so to say. as much as possible in your own way, at your own home, all the time. Try to practice this. And you'll find that the law of the universe is wherever there's a demand, the supply is there. If the child is hungry, the mother will feed it. We are children of the divine. We have come out of that source. If you want to connect with them, the divine responds. Remember, when we meditate on the divine form in our heart, don't think it's like a statue or photo simply sitting down there, no movement, no life. It is the life out of which what I am experiencing is life is a manifestation of. That is more living than I am alive, so to say. When Swami Vivekananda went to Sri Ramakrishna and asked him, "Have you seen God?" Sri Ramakrishna said, "Yes, I have seen him in a more real sense than I am seeing you." Okay, try to understand that we exist because of that existence. That all the knowledge, that everything that I have is a faint spark of that infinite knowledge of the divine. All the little enjoyments that we feel through our sense enjoyments, whatever is there, is a spark of that infinite ocean of bliss. And this short life is a small span in that ocean of immortality that we are. So that is our divine heritage. Okay. Some of us are manifesting little bit more, some little less. Some are big waves, some are all small waves. But that wave nature is not our true nature. We are all that ocean. And the purpose of life is to move in that direction, and hopefully through our own effort and the grace of the divine, in this life itself, we should achieve it. You might say that's impossible, we do not know the way, and it's already too old and we're a little lost. That's why the incarnation comes and he says, "You take one step towards me, I take 10 steps towards you. Come unto me, all who are heavy laden, and I shall give thee rest," Christ says in the Bible. So let's not make too much big deal about our shortcomings and all those type of things. What is doable, let us do. And you don't have to believe me. You have to experiment this and find out whether this is the truth in your own spiritual life. So you don't have to look for outside support, inside support. That living presence is there inside us all the time, here and now. Talk to it all the time. Wherever you get a little time, do a micro meditation. Driving in the car, sitting on the bench, okay, let me just gather myself and anchor myself there. Repeatedly try to do that as many times in the day as possible. And you'll find that with every time you do that connection, you'll feel that little flow of little bit of energy. You're grounded, you're balanced. And understand everything outside, no matter how important and how big they look like, is trivial. In this vast expanse of this universe, this earth is almost an invisible speck of light, dust. In this vast eternity, our lifespan is not even less than a second. We make a too much big deal about things that we do. We amplify it too much. And when we do that, the real reality, that is lost somehow. Okay, how do we disconnect ourselves from all these trivial things which we think are so important? Nothing is important, everything shall pass, okay? But the real reality, the blissful Atman nature that we are, how can we ignore that and forever be engrossed in all these things? That does not befit us, okay? That does not befit us. So we have to wake ourselves and say, let's do what we have to come to do, and we will not get any rest until we achieve that goal. Whether you do it in 5 lifetimes, this lifetime, 100 or 1,000, every lifetime will take you, whack you around nicely, trying to wake us up from this dream that we are there. It's our choice how much we require, how much of that beating we require from this world to wake up us. If you are wise, by God's grace, fix that goal and try your best, and you'll find the response comes. It's waiting. So try to understand the significance of that mantra, and the rest is then sincerely practicing. May the divine that dwells in our hearts inspire us to reach out to him, take us, detach us from the outside world, and attach us to that, attract us to our divine essence within us. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.